In this next section, I want to talk to Paul about Samsung. But if you'd like to call in, the number is 877-789-ALEX. That's 877-789-2539. Now, Paul, there's a story today about the Samsung TV. And, of course, Alex has been saying for a long time that they're monitoring people through phones, through televisions, long before they admitted that, through your computer monitor, through the camera that's in your computer monitor. Long before they admitted that, Alex was saying that, you were saying that, and now Samsung is basically putting out a policy, a privacy policy, when you buy their smart television that, as an Electronic Frontier Foundation activist point out in a tweet here, it looks exactly like Orwell's 1984. You know, this says, please be aware that if your spoken words include personal or other sensitive information, that information will be among data captured and transmitted to a third party through your use of voice recognition. And he puts that side by side with the clip from 1984 where it says any sound that Winston made above the level of a very low whisper could be picked up. And of course, there was no way of knowing whether you were being watched at any given moment. That's the world in which we live. But of course, I guess, Paul, many people are willing to just willingly go into this Orwellian nightmare so they can use the latest electronic gadget.
Well, we now have a situation with the emergence of the Internet of Things whereby, you know, John McCain mentioned it in the aftermath of the Don Sterling controversy with the Clippers, where his private comments were made into a public controversy. McCain basically said, consider everything that you say, even in the privacy of your own home, not on the internet, not over the phone, just private conversations, consider that somebody could be listening. And now we're into that situation because this is a story that we broke in November. Now, finally, you know, 3-4 months later, TechCrunch is reporting on it. And I found, or I sent a link to Samsung's global privacy policy, and it basically says what you just read out, that they basically warn people not to engage in sensitive conversations because they're being recorded and potentially handed to a third party, because Samsung Smart TV works via voice activation and voice control. So, you know, you direct the television to turn on, to flip to a certain channel. They're also recording everything you say. What they don't report in TechCrunch today is the fact that one of our listeners actually contacted Samsung about this, called them up and asked, quote, is that what this is? Are you complying with a federal court order to record what's going on in my living room? The answer from the Samsung representative was, yes, sir, exactly. Now, wow. She seemed somewhat confused as to exactly what he was asking, but Samsung has not officially responded to this, the fact that they openly admit that your private conversations are being recorded and potentially handed on to a third party. And this is already happening with other technology. Microsoft Kinect users who were playing video games based around football management simulations, during the game, if their team was losing and they shouted out obscenities in their own living room, the microphone from the Kinect picked up those obscenities, and within a day they received a notification from Microsoft which basically punished them, took away some credits from their account because they'd used these obscenities during the game. So even in the privacy of their own living room, their private conversations, the words they speak, are being picked up and then you later used to punish them in terms of their game credits. So now Samsung admits that it's basically recording your private conversations. They could be passed on to this third party, which has created the software for the voice control. And again, as he said, the Electronic Frontier Foundation compared it to a passage out of Orwell's 1984. And the similarities are chilling.
Well, you know, it really is 1984, Paul, because we know that amongst the third parties that they're passing this information to, of course, is the NSA. And that's why they have pushed so hard for CISPA. We keep hearing in the wake of this supposed hack of Sony over the interview, we keep hearing that we need more cyber intelligence sharing. And that's what CISPA is a Cyber Intelligence Sharing Protection Act. But you're not being protected. The whole point of CISPA is to protect these companies like Samsung who are spying on you and turning this information over to whether it's commercial interests for third parties or whether it's a government that wants to spy on you. The protection is to give them legal immunity from criminal actions, from civil lawsuits when they take your data and they use you as a profit center. So that's why they're doing it. They've been doing it for a very long time. They're just trying with CISPA to give legal immunity to the corporations who are cooperating with the surveillance state.
Yeah, and the NSA, I mean, William Binney has made the point many times. The size of NSA facilities, like the one in Bluffdale, Utah, are so big that Binney makes the point they can't just be for storing metadata. They wouldn't need facilities the size that they have and they're building more of just to store that data. They must be storing the personal content of people's private conversations, both online, email, text messages, and even through things like this voice activation program eventually. So it's not just about the metadata, it's about your private conversations.
You are watching the best of the Alex Jones Show, weekdays from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central. Watch live at Infowars.com/show or become a member of Infowarsnews.com and help us take resistance to the next level.